Hello and welcome inside our Oklahoman studio for another edition of Thunder Insider presented by Integris Health. I'm Kelly Krall and the whole broadcast gang with me today. Brian Davis, Grant Long, Matt Pinto, of course, will be along with us later. And no question, we have seen the intensity pick up in these last few weeks of the regular season. What's the vibe right now that you feel coming from this team?
Well, I love it because it's that time of the year where teams are starting to jockey for those playoff positions, and our team, the Thunder, are not immune to that as well. So you're going to see some very good basketball in the last 20 or so games.
I'm going to single out an individual, and we're close enough to the Ides of March. I'm going to wrinkle this up. I come not to bury Nazr Mohammed, but to praise him. He is shooting the ball, not a lot, but efficiently. 5 offensive rebounds at Philadelphia helps the Thunder get that thing back on track, and eventually they go on to the victory. He has been superb.
And we will talk a little bit more about Nazr later, but you talk about hitting your stride at the right time. How about James Harden? Ever since the All-Star break, the second-year guard has really picked up his game, becoming much more aggressive in terms of driving to the hole, penetrating and dishing, and really communicating with his teammates to get involved more, especially with the backdoor cut.
Probing up the middle, steps behind a Muhammad pick, blasting right, bounce passes baseline to Harden with a two-hand finesse will flush.
He has the strength to catch, and he has great hands.
Other defenses got to pay attention to myself and Russell and a guy that's rolling in the pick and roll, and he just get lost in the back of the defense and always finds his way to the rim.
Westbrook alley-oop into the rim to Harden, goes up the stairway to hoop heaven.
We do set screens on the ball very well, and opens up a back door for him.
Bounce passes back door to Harden, up and under, scoops and scores on Bynum. On target, on time delivery by Maynard.
Sometimes you just got to be decoys for that situation, and he does a great job in that.
He has a good feel. He knows when to do it, and I like the fact that he never fakes it because early, I thought last year every now and then he was faking back doors and we were turning it over. He's aggressive with it, and he's effective. He has great hands, and he finishes, and he's strong, and he's a very good athlete.
Definitely showing us that athleticism right now, but I think something Coach Brooks likes even more than what he's doing offensively is what he's doing defensively.
I think one begets the other. He has scored now double figures in 14 of his last 15 games. He's shooting about 50%, but Grant, I think that aggression, you're seeing him taking it to the basket, not only his chemistry and the rhythm he's found with his point guard, Eric Maynard, but the fact is he's more aggressive at the offensive end because he's learned how to be aggressive at the defensive.
Oh, I do think they work hand in hand, and the confidence that he has that we see every night on the offensive end, it translates on the defensive end. It gives him a lot of confidence to play guys like Kobe Bryant and have one-on-one stances with those type of caliber players. And when James Harden is on the floor, this is what you have to understand. I believe he has really accepted his role as a bench player, as a reserve, and more so this year than I think last year. He's coming off and knowing exactly what's expected of him, and I think that's what you're seeing from James Harden. The expectations are there, and he's meeting those expectations.
I'm glad you bring that up. Harden looking great with that reserve group, and we know how fond Coach Brooks is of that second unit, but really over the course of the last few weeks, Brooks has been able to play around and mix in some new lineups. Nazr Mohammed, part of the starting core for now, Daquan Cook off the bench, offering up a 3-guard lineup, and also Cole Aldrich even being inserted at certain points, each group producing in different ways.
We got a lot of guys that can play. I think we got, particularly on the front line, we got more guys, more bodies to use, and we're just trying to figure out kind of how the new pieces fit together. We're just having to play a little bit different. We're playing more minutes with more of a traditional lineup with two bigs that are more inside players, so we're adjusting to that.
And when Nick Collison, you heard what he said, in my estimation, during a time after a trade, I said this all along, that the team that comes out of pit row the quickest will be the team that's able to take advantage of their trades and their signings over that break. So the Thunder making some strides. Obviously, they have to get Kendrick Perkins healthy and Nate Robinson back healthy. But I think so far, Nazr Mohammed has made some tremendous strides in this unit.
Very subtle, because you go, okay, the big guy Perkins isn't there yet, but the bottom line is that you've still disposed 40% of your starting lineup, and then the second unit has also got some different chemistry going because, for instance, you've had to take guys in Ibaka and elevate him to the starting 5. So if you are able to find that chemistry, and it's right back to what Grant said, if you're able to find that chemistry as fast as you can. And the other thing, we haven't even seen Kendrick Perkins yet, and we are seeing combinations that make this team deeper, more versatile, more dangerous in given situations.
So with Nazr Mohammed definitely at the 5 now in the starting role for now, Serge Ibaka has been strictly a 4, and it seems like he's really benefiting from that, really maturing in that position. What do you guys think?
Well, I tell you what, snapshot from the Philadelphia game, a critical moment at the end of regulation. They got a chance to win this thing. Tie ball game, final couple of seconds. Nazr Mohammed funnels Andre Iguodala right into Russell Westbrook, drawing the charge. The Thunder survives to play overtime and win the game.
Yeah, but I like what Nazr Mohammed brings to the ball club because he's able to play one-on-one low post defense, and that also now allows Serge Ibaka to do the same thing. So you've got some very talented people at that those front court positions. Then playing the center and playing the power forward. Serge Ibaka can get out on the perimeter and play as well there defensively. So you like the fact that he can play 1 or 2 different positions on the floor.
Go back to his initial charge. Run the floor and rebound. And if he's able to score a little bit, which he's shown flashes of lately, just a bonus. But run the floor, rebound, bring energy based on your athleticism.
And it seems like Nazr Mohammed has even been able to offer up a few things to Serge Ibaka as a way that the two of them can work together.
They can play a 2-man game like you just saw.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. High post action where Serge is in the low post or Nazr's in the low post and flashes to the top and make that dump down pass near the basket.
Well, it's been interesting, and I'm sure we'll see more changes, of course, as Kendrick Perkins gets inserted. But the lineup so far seem to be working well for Coach Brooks.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
Quick swivels baseline, spins back to the middle, leans in, launches, and sticks a 10-footer, utilizing his 6'9" frame over the 6'6" Jones.
So I like playing, 3 and a 4. It gets me close to the basket. I can help my team on the defensive end a little bit more.
Welcome back to Thunder Insider.
Here we go. KD spinning 4-3. Get it! Get it! 6.2 remaining. We're tied. Ibaka trying to keep him out high. He at the charge. Come on. Thaddeus Young.
Well, 2 huge plays from your all-stars there down the stretch to get that overtime win in Philly, and really the whole team, a great effort. But Russell Westbrook right now, the ball he's playing in this last week, 27 points, averaging almost 10 assists a game. He's named the Western Conference Player of the Week for the 5th time, more than any other player in the Western Conference. Does he seem to be raising the bar right now with his play?
I think you always love to see a player that is playing an all-star level add elements to his game. And when he stepped in and drew the charge with the game in the balance in Philadelphia, that clearly was a step forward for him in terms of team defense, which makes an enormous difference, allowing this club to get to overtime where they eventually won. But Grant, on the offensive end of the floor, I think he's recognizing where his shots can come from while he continues to distribute to his team.
That's a big key when you're as an offensive player. You want to know exactly from night to night where you're going to be able to be successful in the offense. And Russell has found that pattern, whether it's driving the ball right to that dotted line, pulling up, or getting to the basket and finding his teammates. All of those areas Russell has been successful in this year.
And the surprising element he's adding is the three-point shot, because he's made some clutch late shot clock threes. He's capable of doing it. Doesn't do it very frequently, probably wisely, but we see the incredible athleticism. Nobody can stay in front of him, and it just adds such an enormous dimension to what this team does offensively.
Well, and if we talk about one, we got to talk about the other. Kevin Durant, a guy who can play any position on the floor, says Coach Brooks. And even Kevin says, when you ask him, where do you feel most comfortable, 1 through 5, and he says, as long as I'm on the basketball court, I'm always feeling comfortable. But that opens up so many options. Just talk about the different lineups with Kevin on the floor that can produce.
Well, he's grown up playing the small forward and the power forward spots. Now he's more entrenched in those two areas, Grant, and it's making a difference. It's widening the floor. It's creating gaps for him to go to work off the dribble and to pull up and knock down his shot. At 6'9", opposing coaches always say he's always open. He can shoot over the top of guys all the time.
You're right. He's always open, but I've been impressed with Kevin Durant's ability to move without the basketball. I think he is so much more successful when he comes off of the screen, when he steps into a jump shot out of transition. If he has the ball in his hand, there is a success rate for him. But when he catches the ball off of a Nick Collison screen or out of a pick and pop situation, he has been very successful. And I think we talked about Russell knowing where he can be successful. That doubles for Kevin Durant. He also understands where he can be successful as well.
Spacing, very key for Kevin Durant.
My natural position is a 3/4, opposed to just playing all three all game or 3/2. So I like playing, 3 and a 4. It gets me close to the basket. I can help my team on the defensive end a little bit more, contesting shots down there and closing the paint up and also rebounding. So, I think if I'm down there, we also play a lot quicker. I can bring the ball up myself. Kind of opens the floor up a little bit for Russell and, James. Since me and Serge can shoot it, Daquan can shoot it, they can get to the rim a little bit better. And, also when I have the ball, they space the floor so well I can go to the rim as well. So we have a lot of options with me at the floor.
Speaking of those options, even one of them when he's not on the floor is this recent lineup that we're seeing with 4 guards basically and 1 front court player in Nick Collison. I suppose you could call it the small ball lineup, but what do you think that presents when you show that to other teams?
Well, you force the other team's hand. I mean, if they decide to continue to play big, suddenly they give up a lot of lateral ability to stop this team from driving, penetrating, and dishing out. And you have 3-point threats in James Harden and Daquan Cook that are legitimate spot-up shooters that the opposition has got to play honestly on the perimeter. Granted, creates some havoc for the opposition, and it adds an element to this team that was not being tapped into very frequently early this season.
I agree. I think it's a low-risk element of Scott Brooks' coaching because he can put these guys on the floor with a high reward because you talked about the outside shooting that it presents. They give up some rebounding if they get into that situation, but the outside shooting is what he's looking for, I believe. You have so many guys with the opportunity to shoot the long ball. You hope that you get off about 4 or 5 of those shots before the defense recognizes, hey, we have some smaller guys on the floor.
And I think the guys will tell you, as long as they're taking good shots, that rebounding issue doesn't come into effect quite as much.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
His body has changed from when we got him here last year. He's probably 195 pounds last year, and now he's probably 226, 227.
Welcome back to Thunder Insider.
Here we go, 1-point Thunder lead, 20 seconds left, shot clock off. Nash bumped out front, ball knocked away, Westbrook pried it free, it's on the deck, Russell's got it. Brooks and Nash on the floor, they get the turnover. There's the blitz and the turnover. The Thunder's got a chance to hang on and win this one.
An update now on the Tulsa 66ers. Latavius Williams seems to have really settled in with the team as of late, averaging more than 13 points and 8 rebounds a game. Latavius says he's certainly improved as a player, but acknowledges there's still plenty of work ahead.
He's opening up. He's still a quiet guy, but that's just Tay. But at the same time, he's learning. Things are becoming more comfortable for him. I think it's experience doing it over and over and over again.
I feel real good. Coach Nate have everybody out here an hour early, pushing them, before practice and after practice. So can't do nothing but get better.
His body has changed from when we got him here last year. He's probably 195 pounds last year, and now he's probably 226, 227. So we're seeing him become a man both mentally and physically. So I would say that's probably his greatest growth right now. He's got a skill of rebounding. I mean, he's just got a knack. He can go get the ball. He's kind of slithery, but at the same time, he just goes and gets it. He's an NBA athlete, and I would say rebounding is the key to his success right now.
I've just been really focused on defense. Our defense is like keep them out the middle, so you got to push everything toward the sideline. And sometimes that's just real hard, to do. So you got to close out of the angle and stuff like that. So that's what I've been working on every day.
It's good to have good players around him because it puts pressure on him to not, take the shortcut, to do things the right way, and I think he's really doing that right now.
Latavius beefing up and really looking good out there. Well, the second annual Thunder Poetry Slam was quite a hit as a panel of celebrity judges, including guard Royale Ivy and our very own Grant Long, helped narrow down the 20 finalists to pick 3 winners. Each received a prize pack, including tickets to a game, autographed player items, and a special plaque presented at the Oklahoma City Arena.
This will not faze me, because I am unstoppable.
This year was amazing. I mean, last year was good, but this year it was very apparent, even before tonight, that the level of competition was going to be drastically higher. So that speaks volumes about the talent we have in this area.
I've always had a strong interest in spoken word, and so whenever I heard about this, I was really happy to get the opportunity to do something like this.
There's no in between. It's quite simple. Either you're nice or you're mean.
Oh my gosh, it was thrilling, it was exciting, it was nervous, my heart was beating out my chest. All my support and hearing all the screams for me, and it was like, okay, like everybody said for me, and I think I did a pretty good job.
You could hear the passion, you could hear their heart. That's pretty much what slam poetry is based on. You know, you're sounding off on something that's, a lot of times people will sound off on something that's happened in their life, something they stand for or something they're against, something that has happened to them.
I think this is great for the community and these kids coming out here and reciting their poems. They all did a great job, and I'm just glad to be a judge.
We can't see because we're blinded. Find it, we must. So what is love? Is it just, or is it more?
I've never been to anything exactly like this, any competition. So it was definitely new to me, very upbeat, energized, but I wasn't expecting to win, but I just went out there and did what I could.
He was pretty good. His delivery was excellent. What he was saying was excellent. He just had me in my seat, and I gave out 110, he got my 10, so it was great.
Royale Ivy having a lot of fun, a great crowd on hand for a very cool event. Well, a bank employee by day, but a huge Thunder fan by night, and after winning the Thunder's You Make the Call contest, Dylan Quirk had the opportunity to sit in and help call a game alongside our broadcast crew. With the headset on, Dylan made the most of his up-close and personal experience.
Along with Grant Long, I'm Brian Davis, joined now by the winner of our Cox Communications You Make the Call contest.
I got the promotional slip in the mail and thought this may be an opening for me, so I just entered, and it turned out the way I'd hoped.
And here you are. Nice job. Welcome in.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to be here. Thank you, Brian and Grant, having me along with you this evening. I met with big Brian Davis and Grant Long. Brian's shown me around. Got to meet Coach Brooks. I got to go inside the Thunder locker room, watch the pregame, and meet a lot of wonderful people. I'm a little nervous. Obviously, with it being live, you don't want to make a fool of yourself or say anything you're going to regret. But I have confidence that Brian and Grant will make it a great experience.
Cousins getting inside. Okay, home team's got the ball. Your turn.
All right, Eric Maynard's going to bring it on down for us. And, I'm really impressed with Oklahoma City's intensity tonight. It's over the top. It's unbelievable. I still can't believe that I'm here. And I just want to walk away with a little more appreciation for the effort that this crew as a whole puts in every game.
You have passed the test.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Cox Communications You Make the Call contest. Wonderful. Not only a gamer, a wonderful guy. Glad to have you here, Pally.
Thank you, Brian.
See you soon.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
You guys notice any strange things wandering around the halls here tonight?
Just a few creatures from outer space.
And if you look to your right, you'll see the Thunder girls. How's the force with them?
Force is pretty strong with them.
Welcome back to Thunder Insider.
This past week, characters from one of the most popular movie series of all time teamed up with the Thunder Foundation to help raise money for the organization. We add Steely to the mix and got this week's edition of Stealing the Mic.
I don't have a ticket, my blasters say I get in for free. Don't let that Jedi scum in here.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't through with that. No. All right.
The guy who came before me?
No, I'm sorry.
He was packing heat.
Are you serious? That's a dangerous weapon. I'm sorry. You just can't come through with that.
What are those?
Oh no. Those are just toys, but that's a dangerous weapon. I'm sorry, sir.
You guys notice any strange things wandering around the halls here tonight?
Just a few creatures from outer space.
Okay, Jennifer, the Star Wars characters are here, and they're here for...
They are helping us out here for our Thunder Foundation, and we're getting photos with our fans and accepting donations, and we're having a great time with the fans here in the arena.
Who's more intimidating, Kendrick Perkins or Darth Vader?
Perkins, by far.
Got to be Westbrook. I'll have to go with Vader, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You realize now Perkins is 6'10", 280.
Yeah, Vader's nightmare from my childhood, so I don't know.
Star Wars and Thunder basketball, what similarities do they have?
I'm not sure. I'm not a geek like you.
Tell us about your thoughts on the Thunder.
The Force is very strong with the Thunder. I believe they're going to win tonight, and they would also wipe us out.
And if you look to your right, you'll see the Thunder girls. How's the Force with them?
Force is pretty strong with them.
Vader, your thoughts on the Thunder girls? You just met them. That's heavy breathing.
Luke, I am your father.
First of all, you look a little bit like George Costanza.
I haven't heard that before. Maybe it's the hair today.
Who would Yoda be on the Thunder roster?
Nick Collinson? Yeah, he seems to be probably the wisest.
Thank you, George. You can go hang out with Jerry and Kramer now. Thank you.
I say Ibaka's got Chewie, and then Nate Robinson's probably R2-D2.
Durant's got to be...
Skywalker.
Yeah, he's got to be Skywalker.
It's not the same as a land speeder race. I guess it'll do for you Earthlings.
I don't know a whole lot about the Star Wars characters and such, but I do like that they were matching some of them up with the players. Yoda being a smart character, I'm assuming, and Nick Collison.
Well, I'm disappointed in Steely. I figured he'd pull Princess Leia from somewhere. You know, where's Princess Leia? That's what I want to know.
Well, looking forward for the Thunder Eastern Conference teams. They've been pretty good against them so far this season, and they've got a few more in front of them.
They've got 6 in a row against the East coming up, 7 total in the final 19 games, and you look for any potential advantage down the stretch in positioning for the playoffs, Grant, and that could be one for Oklahoma City.
I totally agree because they fared well against the Eastern Conference, and that's a game where you don't really have a great opportunity. I'm talking about the defense of the Thunder. They don't have a great opportunity to scout the Thunder because it's only that one game.
Well, guys, thanks again. Thank you all for being here in our Oklahoma studio for another edition of Thunder Insider presented by Integris Health. We'll see you again next week with more on Thunder basketball.